Hello, everyone. Please excuse my cold. I sound terrible right now. So, for this discussion, we're talking about the Keirsey temperament sorter, and I have taken this before. I think a lot of us have, and I also just did the Myers-Briggs assessment, which is I know they have differences, but they have a similar language. So I was kind of looking at the differences in them and trying to work that out, but I had the same result. So I am an idealist, apparently. So I've heard that before in different contexts. So I guess I wasn't really surprised. And again, like this is the second time I've done it, so I kind of knew what to expect. I wasn't sure if I would get the same result, but I wasn't surprised that I did. So let's see, what did I learn about myself from this? Well, not much. It's basically a lot of the stuff that I know about myself, and it highlights a lot of the things that I think are good qualities, and then the things I also need to work on. So, not really too many surprises. So the three qualities that I guess I think might be most helpful in working with clients would be that idealists are good at working with others, and they tend to like to help others. And I think in the social work profession, that's our job, is to help people help themselves. So I think that's a good fit, and I do think I enjoy that. So um, I'm pretty sure all of us do. And that's why we're drawn to this profession. A second quality that was listed is integrity, and I I like to think that I operate with integrity, and I think it's something that I'm always mindful of. And if I feel like if I'm witnessing someone that might not be operating with integrity, or I can feel myself going in that direction, I try and mitigate that quickly. And so it is something that I'm always aware of and is important. For me, it's a priority. So I can see where that would come up as something that idealists do because, or have, because I think, at least for me, I'm always striving for that. So it's in my awareness all the time. And they're often good mediators. And I think this is another good quality for social work because we are mediating people's conflict and helping them resolve conflict. And just in dealing with our relationships with our colleagues and with clients, there's always a need to mediate, and I think that's something that will come in handy with social work. And I think I've naturally always done that in my family of origin, with my sisters and my parents and my friendships. I think it's always something that I've always tried to kind of keep the peace between me and others, and between others. And sometimes it's not a good thing because there's always a sense of needing peace, and that's just not realistic, which goes into some of the one of the barriers I think that idealists have in working with others and working in the social work profession. But for one more positive, there's being ethical, which of course is a high priority within the social work profession and is naturally a high priority for me. So I can see where that would come up under this as an idealist. But it's still something that is always being tested, and something that's always pretty complicated in reality, and you still have to think about and work through. So for the barriers, I think unrealistic expectations, that's something that I definitely can have sometimes, and I have to, with clients, be realistic about goals and in their treatment plans, what can be achieved, and then also in what I can achieve as a practitioner. And I think it says another barrier is kind of a fear of conflict and really not okay with conflict. And this goes back to being a mediator, and there really is a need to sometimes embrace conflict because it's necessary and it's part of a process. So it's dealing with conflict without being really emotional and very uncomfortable with it, um, and learning to help others resolve conflict in a healthy way. Um, you can't really be afraid of conflict if you're helping people resolve it. And also another thing would be relying on intuition too much, which is not always a good thing because we want to make sure that we're coming from a evidence-based place and that we are using an academic approach and we're using the theories and the knowledge that's there, in addition to our intuition. So that's something that I think I'll always have to grapple with. So I think definitely need to improve on some areas, and I'm very mindful of those areas, and I'm working through that. So, okay, so I'm going to keep going on and on unless I stop myself. So thank you, and I hope you guys are all having a good week.